Hi everybody. My name's Tom Podbury, an accredited exercise physiologist at Kinetic Medicine. Today recording from the small riverina town of Narrandera. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about some techniques that you can use to help manage your energy and pacing throughout the day and week. The techniques that we'll be going through today are especially relevant for anyone that's living with an invisible illness like fibromyalgia, living with chronic fatigue, or living with persistent pain. Today we're going to be going through a few different strategies to help manage these conditions. The first of which is an activity diary, the traffic light system, and putting it all into a bigger picture using what I call the self-care temple. Let's start with the activity diary. An activity diary is a simple tool that you can use to track your activities throughout the day and week. This can be anything from walking the dog, to having a difficult conversation at work, to having a nap in the afternoon. The important feature of this activity diary is that we're not just writing down the activities, but we're also rating how much it's drained us of energy. Another important thing to remember is this activity diary is not meant to make you do more, but to simply make you notice your current patterns and potentially start to address the way that you perform activities throughout the day. People living with invisible illness, chronic fatigue, and sometimes persistent pain often experience what we call post-exertional malaise, where even small stresses can sometimes lead to future flare-ups and bouts of fatigue. By using this activity diary, we're trying to notice which activities drain you the most and even what activities allow you to rest and sometimes restore your energy. Here you can see an example of an incomplete activity diary. You can easily see that each hour of the day is split up into a separate box on all 7 days of the week. And here is an example of an activity diary that I've filled out myself. As someone that works full-time, you might say this could be pretty similar to a lot of other people that work full-time jobs. If you're a city dweller or live close to work, your commute times might not be as long as mine, but it's a pretty typical example of the kinds of activities that someone might be doing if working a full-time job. The second concept that I'd like to introduce is the traffic light system. This is a simple color system to help you pick out the activities in your day that drain you a lot or use a lot of energy, those that only drain moderate energy, and those that allow you to rest or even restore your energy. The red light is meant to symbolize activities that are high stressors. As we spoke about earlier, this could be a cognitive, emotional, or physical stressor, but something that takes energy away from you. The amber category symbolizes moderate intensity stresses. These might be things that take a little bit of energy away but don't leave you completely flat or exhausted. Green activities are those relaxation activities, things that allow you to rest and recover and might even restore some energy to you. And the blue category is meant to represent sleep, so sort of allowing you to highlight your sleep times throughout the day. So here is an example of the same activity diary earlier that I've color-coded based off of how stressful I found all the experiences, all the activities in my week. It does look a little bit messy. I apologize. I hope that it's legible. An important thing to keep in mind is that for what I classify as a red activity, someone else might classify as a green or amber activity. What I classify as a green activity, other people might classify as a red activity. This is all dependent on your stress fingerprint, which we spoke about in an earlier video. For example, you can see that on my Saturday, I've classified social time as a moderate or amber activity. If you're somebody that finds social interaction or emotional stresses particularly bad, this might be a red activity for you. The reason why these activity diaries and the traffic light system can be so useful for people either living with an invisible illness or experiencing chronic fatigue or persistent pain is that it starts to help people notice some of the patterns throughout their week, especially if they're falling into boom-bust cycles. It can also help people figure out ways that they can effectively pace their red activities throughout the week. It's important to remember that we don't want to eliminate all red activities. Some stresses are positive. Physical stresses like exercise are really good for the body, and everybody knows this. Now, I want to zoom out a little bit and look at the larger picture to help explain why this strategy of managing activity is so important. This image here is the self-care temple, because your body is a temple. This concept was developed by Nathan Butler from the Active Health Clinic in Melbourne, and it helps us to figure out the ways that we can prioritize certain things in our healthcare treatment to allow for sustainable improvement over a long time. You can see that the bottom level, the foundation, has the title pacing. We then have 4 columns: stress management, diet, exercise, and sleep. The very top that covers the whole thing is titled DIMS and SIMS. Now, DIMS and SIMS is something that we're going to cover in a later video. All you need to know for now is that it's a pain management strategy. DIMS stands for dangers in me, SIMS stands for safeties in me. This is a tool that was developed by the Noy Group to help people with pain management. We'll cover it in a later video, not to worry too much about it right now. The important thing for the moment to understand about this self-care temple is that we need to start with the foundations, pacing. As an exercise physiologist, I could prescribe the best exercise program in the entire world, but unless we've got a good pacing strategy underlying it, it could lead to boom and bust cycles and unsustainability. What can you do today? Firstly, write up your own activity diary. Cover it for a week. Keep in mind, this is your tool and you can be as creative as you like with it. I've seen some activity diaries that have little pictures of butterflies and people get quite creative. So it's yours, be as creative as you like with it. Make sure that you're thinking about your traffic light system and building it into your activity diary. And lastly, be kind to yourself. This strategy isn't about perfection. It's simply about noticing the patterns that you're currently going through and making small incremental changes. If you do manage to complete an activity diary, bring it into your next exercise physiology consult so you can talk with your exercise physiologist about the best ways to better manage some of your efforts throughout the week and day. As always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. You can either email your exercise physiologist or get in contact with us at info@kineticmedicine.com.au. Please remember to be kind to yourself, and thanks again for watching.